Brennan McPherson started writing stories while he was a junior in college. Now he's released the third book in his Fall of Man series, and he's given a new spin to a classic story that's been told for thousands of years.
When Brennan McPherson was a young boy, he was always intrigued by stories in the Bible. Brennan now combines his fascination with Scripture and powerful storytelling skills to inspire others to read the Bible for themselves. His popular Fall of Man series of novels first featured Cain, followed by Flood. His latest, Babel, once again brings the pages of Genesis to life.
Well, we are back with Brennan McPherson, and we thank you for joining us on the program again.
Thank you.
So Babel is the latest one. You know, it's a short story in Scripture. What made you decide to grab hold of that? It's a fascinating story.
Yeah, it's a short one, but it's such a big event in human history. And the thing that made me realize there's a story here is recognizing that Noah was actually alive during the events of the Tower of Babel. So the question was, what was he doing while his whole family was rebelling against God? Because Noah was a prophet of God.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it really caused me as I was reading it to think about, you know, sometimes you can read Scripture and everything is so consolidated into short verses and descriptions of things. And as you've gone into all of this, you really think about how rough life was then. I mean, it was just a different time, a different world, people probably thinking differently. How do you prep your brain for all of that?
Well, a lot of it is just imagining, you know, how life is today, because the thing that you find is humanity has been the same for so long, and culture changes, but you just try and imagine the inputs and how would I react to this situation.
So how did you, in thinking about Noah, I mean, that's another story, as we know, and then Babel, how did you figure out how to pull those two things into a simultaneous happening?
Well, we know the last we hear about Noah, he's getting drunk in his vineyard. And then his son ridicules him, and the family's fractured. Yeah. We don't hear anything more about him, but we know from the Scripture genealogies that he was alive during the events of the Tower of Babel. So directly leading into the story of the Tower of Babel is that episode, that last episode. And so it makes it clear that these events are connected. And so I wanted to explore what is the connection between these events.
It's kind of amazing to me, and I thought about this as I was reading your account, how easily we fall away from God's provision. Yeah. And what was the most difficult part of writing this account? Because you're really telling, you got multiple things going on. I guess that's a novel in general.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, just really delving deep into my own heart issues, how easy it is to stop being diligent in my own pursuit of Christ, my own pursuit of love for God, because it is easy to forget and to not be diligent. You
have the father-son theme running through all of the books that you have written. What's the focus of that in your books?
The focus of that really, you know, the Fall of Man series is all around the theme of failed fathers, because the truth is there's no perfect father this side of heaven. Right. So the question is, can we love each other and forgive each other and heal together despite that? So it explores, even in this book, you know, a bad abusive father, a good father who made mistakes, and then another father who was bad but then was repentant, and all of those different nuances.
It's interesting, isn't it, with the fact that so often the absence of a father or a father who is acting inappropriately impacts a family, that God would choose to label himself as our father.
Absolutely. And, you know, broken families, missing fathers is an absolute huge issue in our world today. So many of the people who go to prison had an absent father. Yeah. It's really a tragedy.
You're a father now.
I am a father, and it's been a sobering experience.
I had someone say that to me in my family the other day who doesn't have children yet, and she just said, you know, we're both scared. I said, and well, you should be.
Yeah, because it is terrifying, the responsibility of having a soul. They totally rely on you.
Yeah. So how did becoming a father impact your writing this book?
Really, it became much more self-reflective. Rather than reflective on other fathers that I knew. I really thought a lot about, man, how difficult it is to be present all the time with your child, to never harm them with your words, to always be building them up, and to be the spiritual leader, really. And that's the theme of this book is Noah wasn't being the spiritual leader.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the projection of my fears of if I wasn't faithful.
Yeah. How about the relationship that you had with your dad? How did that play into all of this theme for you?
You know, I'm lucky because I'm convinced my dad is one of the best dads in the world. And he would do anything for any of his kids. He would give up anything. And, you know, because of that, he worked really hard when I was young. And that did have an impact on me. And I didn't even realize it until I was older.
Yeah.
I remember coming back from college one time and just feeling emotional and not really knowing why. And I just said, Dad, I just need you right now. And he just wrapped his arms around me and, you know, just said, I love you, son.
Yeah.
I'm here. Wherever you want to go, we'll go. Whatever you want to do, let's do it. And that was so healing for me.
Well, it says a lot about your dad that the door was open for you to say that.
100%. He's an incredible person.
Yeah. So Babel was this story. What's next? I know that you must have another one in your brain.
Yep. So next in the series is Abram, but I'm also doing kind of a prequel book on Adam. So beginning with his creation in the garden and moving on through the fall and the events with Cain.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of thought and time and effort go into these books. Babel is the latest, the story of the tower and the rebellion of man, and it's available now. You can find out how to get a copy by going to cbn.com. Brennan, always great to see you. Thank you. We'll look forward to Abram.
Thank you.